All right.
Hey.
There we
Now you
are.
can see the better half.
Yeah.
That's what mine told me. She's like, you stay at the house and do this. I said, if I stay here, I said, they're going to hear Dusty more than anybody else.
Right. Yeah, I got to run out to the garage when I need to have quiet time.
That's how it goes. It's too cold here to do it. And I wish I had the Florida weather.
Oh,
I
no,
tell
you don't.
this is
It was 25 last night. Southwest Florida.
there was a few places that got some snowflakes. Not much, but it still happened here, which is crazy. So, what kind of questions you got for us? What do you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, thank
Man.
you for the box.
I've got probably about 15, and then I've got a little surprise segment that I do. It's just, and I've got one for each of you. So I'm going to ask these questions, and feel free, both of you, to answer. Because, I've got both of you here. You do your TikTok together. So anytime I ask these questions, just both of you answer. Feel free to answer. So who was it that got you all into fishing?
All right, so we're talking just fishing, you fished, or are you talking about the fever, the addiction part?
The addiction.
That part, he did. He did it for me. He got me involved in bass tournaments, and
Local
I love
clubs.
competition. I'm pretty big about competition, so I was like, oh, okay. And I caught a 5-pound
5-pounder
bass.
first tournament.
He
Actually, two
had a
tournaments in a
heart
row. She caught 5-pounders.
He about had a heart attack, and I was very quiet too. I'm not anymore.
Dude, the first fish she hooked. So let me set the scene for this tournament. It was Dale Hollow Lake, April like 15th or something.
Cold.
The temperature dropped to 27 degrees that morning, and there's steam just coming off the water. And I know I'm going to be cold, and I'm scared to death that she's not going to be able to handle this. I had the heaters and everything, and we used them in the morning for quite a bit. But we caught I had 1 or 2 dinks, I think, and then we got into a cove that was filled with brush. And I tried to make it as easy for her to fish and catch fish as possible. So I put her basically what they call child's rig, 2 little split shots, 10, 12 inches up from a nice worm.
Hold on, but before you say that, you had me pick out what I wanted to
No,
use.
that was a different tournament. That was the second
That
tournament.
was a different one?
That was the second
I didn't use,
tournament.
that wasn't the
So she got a little story for you.
chartreuse?
She loves the chartreuse worm any time of the year. Anyway, so she's dragging this worm around, and I'm up in a bush stuck, and I'm at the front, trying to keep the trolling motor out of the bushes, trying to keep the bush out of my ear, get my plug back. And I hear a splash, and I look back, and this 5-pounder comes out of the water. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, you got to say something so I can get the net and land it. She's like, why are you so excited? That's a 5-pounder in a local club tournament on Dale Hollow.
And I made the board. But
No, that was a different tournament. The board is where you had your chartreuse worm.
then I had 2
I
good
know.
size ones.
You
Okay.
did.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's a local club tournament. And we ended up third in that. Yeah. And in the last 15 minutes, I had fished Dale Hollow a couple other times, and I know they release right there at this dock. On the inside of this dock is a big grass bed and 6 or 7 feet. And I know that there's going to be at least one released bass in there. And we needed one more fish. Wind was blowing, it was cold, and I just said, baby, you just hang on. I am going to run a spinnerbait till I catch one here. About the 3rd cast, bam, we got it, went in, bumped up to 3rd place in a tournament, so we were in the money. Then we went to a big bass splash tournament down in...
Berkeley?
No.
No. Oh, God, I get so confused with those lakes.
We did fish Barkley too, but not Cumberland, the Chickamauga. Very well-known lake, big bass. I didn't know how, but with these big bass splashes, it's one big fish every hour, and then the one biggest one of the tournament.
That's right.
And you
I
get a
had
prize
big
every
one.
hour. So the night before, we get up, get our hotel, and we're going to run out to the local bait shop, because what else do you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, babe, you get to pick out what you want for this tournament. And she doesn't know, especially then, that this is springtime. They should be moving up on beds. We're not throwing any crazy things. You know, we can really pick apart a lot of fish if we find any on beds. And she goes and grabs a pack of
Chartreuse.
completely gaudy chartreuse twister tail worms.
And I'm an out of the box kind of person. I'm going to try stuff that people were like, no, that doesn't work for this time.
You should have saw my face.
He was you're kidding,
I was
right?
disappointed like you took my puppy. I'm like, that's
like, no,
what you want.
that's
You've got thousands and thousands of bags of stuff here. You want that. Might have been her 5th cast at this tournament. She gets one that's 497.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, come on, we're going to the dock.
You know, and that's the thing is, I tell people that all the time. I said, the strangest places on the water, and sometimes in places that you don't even think about, is where you end up finding them.
Yeah, and the same thing with baits.
And weirdest baits. I just felt it. I felt it. It was like my intuition just spoke.
I don't know if Casting Pool's in here or not, but Jen, she loves chartreuse. I'll tell you right now, she loves chartreuse.
I don't know what it is.
She will tell me to hush my mouth.
I will tell you, this woman will catch fish, especially bass, on a chartreuse worm anywhere, anyhow.
And then a couple of years later, after this, he caught one with the same chartreuse, not the same worm, but the same kind.
Same bait.
And it was probably a 6-pounder out of a little pond on the same thing. Now, anyway, so yes, he did this to me. He created a monster, and he has to feed the monster all the time.
I've got to feed this dang monster all the time now. She's like me when I was in my 20s with fishing. Like, my dad was the first one to take me. That's not where the fever started. We started worm fishing. Every once in a while on Friday nights, him and neighbors would get together and we'd go jitterbugging at the lake a little bit. And that stuff was okay, but I didn't know enough about it. But and we would trout fish, stock streams and stuff like that. And then when we started playing with artificials, it changed for me. And I liked going and getting minnows and getting worms and all that stuff. It was neat. But when I started using artificials, something different happened. I was like, I wanted to know why. Like, if you look at early spinner baits, they were the ugliest thing on the face of the earth. They had these weird plastic skirts. They were ugly, big copper hammer blades, big round ones, not the willows and stuff you have now. And why would a fish eat that? So I started learning why this is happening. They're not eating it because it looks like it's good. They're eating it because it's got a thump and it's making noise and it's in their territory, and they can't punch it to say goodbye and get rid of it. They don't have arms, so they got to do what they can do, and that's how they fight too. When they want to get rid of something, they suck it up in their mouth and crush it. Might spit it back out, but I learned a lot learning artificials, and I had a really good buddy. And we fished every day, everywhere. It didn't matter what floor, how to. We were just going. And he and I became like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of fishing, Yeah. If we weren't fishing, we were talking about it. We were making our own baits. We were hand tying, taking 2 different lures and putting them together, all that stuff. So my buddy Eb... We called him Ebb Tide when we were young.
Yeah.
But he's back in my hometown in Pennsylvania. And man, without him, I would have probably still been fishing, but he and I we fished everywhere all the time.
Yeah. And that's what I get cracked up. Like someone the other day, they were asking me who was going to the Columbus show with me. And I was like, well, I'm just going to ride up, which I had a friend that was supposed to go with me. And so family emergency popped up and we had to cancel, but I was like, I'm going by myself. And they were like, you're going by yourself? And I was like, I go fishing by myself all the time. I was like, but whenever I get there, I was like, there's going to be nothing but fishermen there. I said, a lot of them beat bullcrap with, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
people.
but you know, for me, it's, you know, very similar. You know, Dad got me into it, Papa, you know, my uncle, but you know, a couple of my buddies, you know, where I'm from down there in the hills in Harlan, that's about all we had was hunting and fishing and four-wheeling, you know.
That's it.
And some of my best memories are right there on the river bank and creek bank, you know, with several of my buddies. But that's where it all started for me, was just, you know, creek fishing. And that's what I'm planning on doing quite a bit more of that this year coming up too. Didn't really get to a whole lot last year, but going to try.
I'd love to take you to Pennsylvania. If you've never been, man, central Pennsylvania with the mountains, and there's so many streams, native trout, stock trout streams, smallmouth, rock bass, stripers, muskies, and we catch them all in a day. Like, there's days that we fish a lot of large. So there's one, the Juniata River runs for like 100 and a couple you know, like 18 miles or something. Well, it has, just in our county, it has 13 stock streams for trout that flow into it. And all of them have bass and large or smallmouth in them too. Some have largemouth, but those trout, if they don't get caught during the season, they filter their way downstream at the end of the year to go try to spawn.
Yeah.
And then they end up staying in the big waters. And most people won't fish for trout in these big waters because they don't understand what the big fish are doing. And man, once I started learning that those big fish were out there, I started putting a beating on big brown trouts, big reds, rainbows. And I was catching like every day, catching trout over 22 inches.
That's wild.
Just wading the stream.
Yeah. And see, it was like, you know, in Lynch, they had I guess you can call it a hatchery for trout. And old train depot is what they had it set up in, up around Portal 31, if y'all are familiar with Lynch or anything like that. But more or less, the power went off one weekend and the generator didn't cut on. So they come in and all the trout's floating.
Belly up. Oh my God.
The story I got was they went with 5-gallon buckets, dipping them, putting them in the creek. Well, apparently all of them wasn't dead.
Oh, weren't all dead? Yeah.
And then the Fish and Wildlife here in Kentucky, I guess, you know, the people that are over, you know, stocking the streams and everything, saying that trout was somehow miraculously just appeared in heavy forces in Looney Creek in Lynch that runs all the way down to the river. So they actually stock Looney Creek now with rainbows and
Good
browns.
deal.
So
Good deal.
did you both have a passion for fishing before meeting each other?
Oh, I didn't have quite the passion or fever. I was more into softball and just playing other types of sports. And I am a former dog behavior trainer. So I had my own building with where I trained dogs. I boarded dogs. I was more of the red zone trainer, the one that
The rough dogs.
the pretty bad ones, the ones that were going to be euthanized, but I was able to rehabilitate. It was more of a rehabilitation place. So I was really busy in that, but then him and I, we started doing in-home boarding together, taking care of dogs from the home, and we had a little more freer time, and so we started getting into bass tournaments and fishing, and that's when it happened.
That's good though. I mean, that's a good story, you know. I mean, for now and later on in life, you know, it's awesome.
What's cool is we pretty much do everything together. Yes,
retired,
we
of course,
have some of our own time and stuff, but we really kind of do everything together. We're best friends, and we love doing just about everything together. Now, even like Lily says, "Hey, I need to go shopping. Let's go shopping." We're like, "Yeah, no, go ahead."
You sound a lot like me. I'm like, I'll go weed, but I might sit in the car.
All right, I might be in the truck watching Fish Talk.
Yeah, there you go.
The only shopping we do is the bait and tackle.
and the beer store.
I don't like shopping. I'm strange as a woman. I'm not a shopper.
Yeah. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. My wife's kind of the same. Usually she won't go unless she's needing something.
Yep. If I can't order it where it comes to the door, I'm probably not getting it.
Yep. That's fact. But has fishing strengthened your all's relationship, and how?
I think so. Yeah.
It's
because we have a
done
thing
several
together.
things. Like there's things that you really don't notice right away. Like when you go to the boat ramp, who's your favorite person to see there? The one that doesn't have any etiquette, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't care. And she learned real quick that she didn't want to back the boat in at first because she got to see some of these tournaments up close.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of moving parts when you have a tournament of anything more than 20 boats.
Yes.
And nobody has patience.
Everybody's got to get in and out. Everybody's got to do everything, and everybody expects everybody to be in line, not someone that's new to this. So she had that fear right away. But we went home and we would back the boat up there. We would go through all the different parts of what we have to do to get ready, down to safety chains and lights and all that. So she's learned a lot about that, but I was probably just as bad as anybody else at, what are you doing? If you need help, ask someone to help you. Don't be taking up the launch, because we all know we got to be out there at 6:30 for the bang. And now regular days at a boat ramp are completely different, because you're not a tournament. You shouldn't have that pressure on you. You shouldn't be like, get out of here. What are you doing? Practice at the house.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to be more patient with everybody, because I saw what it did to her. So I was like, that helped me calm down a little more and be a little more training, coaching, and mentoring to everybody, and not just, come on, idiot, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are closed-minded when it comes to that stuff that you had to learn at one point too. There was a time that you weren't experienced, but now that you are, you got to be so mean and cruel to people. So
and I don't want to be part of that.
I stayed back out of that, but now we're like we work together. I tried to take up all the slack for him, because I know he does a lot. So I try to make sure that I learned how to
number one
hook
thing.
up the boat.
Nope, number one thing.
Number one.
You say it all the time. Everybody says it. I'm going to make shirts. What's the most important thing?
The plugs?
Yes.
And the straps.
The plugs and the straps.
The plugs and the straps. Boy, I do not let that go. I have a couple times, and we paid for it.
Like you weren't thinking. You're not thinking, you get angst to get on the water. Mm-hmm. And what's bad is a lot of these places where we're going, we cross over a bridge, so I get to see what the water's like. And
he's already there.
Yep. Already on the water.
Yep, he's already on it. And so I have to stay in between those. So we're a well-oiled machine. Now, when I do have an illness. I've had it for over 20 years. If anybody knows what multiple sclerosis is, it's a relapse and remitting disease. So I've relapsed many times during this 20 years, but this last one a year ago was pretty bad. And it devastated me, because I couldn't even, just grabbing this charger thing, it was too heavy for me. Like I was
holding
really,
the phone up. She was bedridden for 2 months.
Yeah, I was really weak. So I saw that he had to do everything, and it hurt. And so now I'm still pretty weak, but I can do a lot more. I could fish off the boat, because I don't have a lot to have to maneuver. I just stay in an area and I can do it. But I said, nope, I am going to now learn how to put this boat in, bring it back in, unhook everything.
Unhook the trailer, hook the trailer up.
So during this time, even though I'm still kind of weak, I've learned to do all that. I still struggle with some things, especially because I'm trying to get to where, all right, if I ever just want to fish and
if Jay's not around,
you're
he's
not
hunting
around
or something.
Yeah.
I got to do this. And so, but the hardest thing is, like, for instance, taking the strap off the front of the boat or putting
the crank and stuff.
To crank all that, that's pretty tough for me still. But
so we might need to move. Our next boat might need to be one of those auto loaders where it clicks in when you put the boat up and you just push the button and it clicks you off.
Yep.
We got the pontoon, so I ain't got to worry about the plugs. But there was one time I forgot about the straps on the back of the pontoon.
Oh.
Did you float your trailer?
No, I backed it in the water. My brother, he was going, hey.
You caught it quick?
Yeah, he said, I went to ease it off. He said, something ain't right. He's like, we're stuck on something. And as soon as he said that, I went,
pull up.
Pulled up, went back, took them off, backed it in, off we went. But and that was whenever I first got it. So,
but I always said that a couple needs to have something a hobby that they have together, and then there needs to be
something they do
without each other, because we all know that life brings. We're all headed to our end. And
ain't nobody getting out alive.
Yeah, and if you
no, I mean you're right.
If everything is invested in that
in one thing,
it's gonna be super hard to move forward without that person. But you should always have something of your own. But we've kind of found that we are so invested in fishing, we don't have time for anything else.
And we do. We have a lot of other things that we are active in, but like we're not in anything organized anymore. I think the only thing we're organized in is the Moose.
Oh yeah, we joined the Moose.
We did that to try to be more social and
locally social.
And that really hasn't been happening a whole lot.
Yeah,
because they just drink too much, and I don't want to be drunk every day.
Yeah, I can see that.
They like to drink a lot at the Moose, but they have some cool events and stuff. If we don't want to run too far, it's only a couple miles from the house, so that's cool. But we probably the next adventure we're getting into is we're gonna start recycling plastics and making our own flukes, because I use a ton of flukes. And I just want to have something that, I make it on my own. I've made some different baits when I was younger. Me and my old man and a neighbor we would go harvest deer. We would take the tails, salt them, get them cured. Then we would pour lead all winter and tie bucktails all winter long. And that's kind of how I made some money when I was in high school, doing that as a side job in the winter. I think the most we did one winter, we sold like 6,000. And
that's awesome.
That was a lot of time.
Yeah. So he needs something to do on his downtime, and we're thinking
making my own jig heads and making our own flukes. Those are two of the things that we use a ton of.
And that's the fun thing about fishing is making a few things your own, even if you're not making it. Taking something, manipulating it, rigging it up a different way. I mean, that's really is what I enjoy, on the painting side, is painting and then going and catching or seeing someone else catch. But I mean, for years we've all done it, and you really don't even realize it.
Right.
Yeah.
You ran out of jig heads, so now you're making putting a screw lock in whatever your bait was to have that action.
Yep.
Or you're taking something like I run a swim bait in pretty decent grass, and what I do is something like a Kitech type, and it probably doesn't matter as long as you have something big enough in the head. I will pre-rig these. I will put a screw lock in and glue it, run the line through, put a treble underneath, and belly hook it. And I'll put a swivel on that, or not a treble hook, a big wide gap hook that you can keep in the belly slot, so it's exposed, so you're not catching any grass. And I'll give it about 12 inches and put a swivel on it so I can just tie them up quick and easy. And man, it's made such a difference, because throwing a regular swim bait in there just wasn't going to do it. A jig head wasn't going to do it, because you can't get them lined up good with jig heads. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this? Because this is the size of bait I need, and I need this heavy a weight so I can run it through there. And I ended up doing a tournament when I was in Illinois, and that's how long ago I did this. That was in like 2014 or 15. I still have one of them rigged up.
And it's always good to have stuff like that with you. I mean, and keeping it. I mean, it's so funny. I have my stuff separated, because where I do creek fishing, and then at the lake, I've got a tackle bag specifically for the boat, and then I've got one for the kayak, and then I've got one to pack around whenever I'm creek fishing, you know.
Yep. We have our pond fishing, our bass fishing bag, tackle.
Saltwater bag.
Saltwater bag.
And then I've got, if we go stream fishing, I've got like a little crappie box with all micros in it, and a trout box with, little spinners and micros, and we'll just throw it in one of the little bags and go.
Oh, yeah. And that's the best way to do it. That's like, I got back from the East Tennessee show yesterday, and I come walking in, and my wife, she said, "Have you been in the grocery store?" And I went, "No." I've been to the tackle show, remember? Like that. She said, "Lord have mercy." She said, I was like, "Come over here." She fishes with me too, though. So I was like, "Come over here." She was going to go with me, and my mother, she just had her shoulder replaced, and she didn't want to have to deal with my hound dog, and I didn't blame her. And but I was like, "Come over here, let me show you what I got us." And then she was excited, but she was like, "You go to the grocery store?" I was like, "No."
Yeah. Now, which one? Is your wife in here?
No. She's not.
Okay.
No.
She doesn't do TikTok with you?
She don't want to have. She likes to do the recording whenever we're out on the boat or the picture taking, but she don't want a thing to do with being on camera.
There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah. I'd rather have him in front of the camera. I video him all day long. When I get in front of it, I don't know. It does feel a little strange, but I don't mind sometimes.
I've been a public. I had to do public speaking for a long time.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. At the end of the day, she was just like, "Nah." She's like, it ain't for me. She's like, "You have fun." She's like, "I'll support you." She's like, "I'll take your videos and your pictures and sit there and laugh at your memes while you make them and everything else." But she was like, "No, you're good. I don't want no part of it."
That's cool.
I was like, "Okay. If you all could fish anywhere together tomorrow, where would it be?"
Well, go ahead, you say, because I don't know if you want to fish the same place as I do.
Anywhere.
What would be your jam?
Anywhere. Just somewhere in the ocean. Just somewhere in the. I wouldn't mind going out 100 miles just to experience that and to see what we could possibly catch. The ocean is so cool because it's such a surprise most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like no telling what you're going to pull up.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I've not done a lot of ocean fishing myself, so I mean, like if I ever went out on a charter, or say I come down there with y'all sometime, or with Fast, or anybody in Florida for that matter, and we went out in the ocean, I'd probably be acting like an 8-year-old. I mean, if I caught a fish like Nemo, I'd be like, I caught Nemo, clown
You
fish.
would.
It's neat because you could, not the last time we were out, but the time just before that, we had found some little ledges that are real close to shore. They're within like a mile of the shore. But they were getting some fish loaded up on them. And we caught, I think, 8 different species that day. And then we had schools of big fish chasing bait. And we actually hooked into
It'll make you crazy.
one of them. And, and we're down there catching anywhere from 6-inch to maybe 16-inch fish. All different kinds of fish. And then Lisa hooks into one, and it's on the smallest rod. And all of a sudden, it just starts leaving.
it spooled out.
Spooled out our small rod. I mean,
that's what's exciting.
And you have no idea what that was.
Yeah.
You know, you can guess, but if you don't see it, there was 20 some feet of water under us. We don't know.
And then the same thing happened to him.
So I almost got spooled, and boink, the hook just came out.
Yeah.
Now, I think I had a big red because I saw the school coming. Everything looked brown.
Yeah.
And the way they were feeding and the way it ran. I think that was probably a red. I think Lisa probably actually hooked a small fish, and a shark was down there and ate the small fish.
That's
and got the hook.
Is our tax collector.
Yeah.
The tax collector comes along.
that doesn't happen in the freshwater a whole lot.
Yeah.
Ours is catfish.
Yeah. But his place, I already know what he's going to say.
Yeah, Belize, roosterfish. They have this monster roosterfish in Belize. I mean, and they have just a great, really close offshore. Like it drops really quick around Belize, so they get a lot of pelagics really close to shore, and just seeing these roosterfish and how big they get, I'm like, man, that's one of the coolest looking fishes on the face of the earth, and it gets, you could catch an 80-pounder.
Yeah.
So I'm up for that. And you catch them on artificials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really up for that.
So when he retired out of the Army, he said to me, he had a book sitting on a shelf and it said Belize. And he said, I'm studying Belize, because I'm going to go there one day. And I'm like, wow, we got to make this happen. And of course, he retired in 2018. So it ain't. But
Florida's pretty good too.
But then Florida's got us so excited that we're learning Florida. But that was funny, Brian. I just wanted to say how he said the hardest thing about ocean fishing is not to set the hook on a circle hook.
Right.
That's my hardest transition, because we actually fish the ocean like bass fishing.
Most of our fishing,
we do.
It's basically bass fishing.
Yeah.
But when we do the greenies, we get some greenies live bait and we have circle hooks. I'm like, we're supposed to set the hook.
and all you're doing is pulling the hook out.
Yeah.
Because you're not letting it turn, and it's so hard. I do it too. I watched a monster eat my freaking greenie, and as soon as I felt it, I set the hook and I watched it just blow his mouth open and pull out, and I was like, oh man, that was the one. It was huge, big snook.
What's your all's favorite species? I know you fish saltwater and freshwater, so what's your favorite species, freshwater and then saltwater?
The catch or the fight, or what do you mean?
What's your favorite?
Food?
The next question is going to be favorite fish to catch and cook.
Okay. All right. So my favorite species.
Just to catch.
I always say Jack Crevalle.
I thought she was going to say that.
Jack Crevalle. Even the smallest one fight like crazy.
They're mean.
They're just so aggressive. So they're always fun, and we've gotten some pretty big. And now that is
it's a fight.
Mean fight.
Even when you think it's over, they just turn sideways and go in circles.
Yep.
Just
love it. Now, what's yours?
God, I love so many of them. Favorite thing to fish for is going to be the snook, because I love bass fishing. I do. Smallmouth, largemouth, spots, it don't matter wherever I'm at. But snook are just giant bass. They act like them. They have a lot of characters to the bass. They have a big mouth like bass do.
You can lip them like bass.
Yeah, you can lip them. And
lip many
they really act a lot like bass, except for the spawn. They are completely different spawning. They go to the deep to get ready to spawn. But they are, and I might catch 17 under 20 inches today. And in the next cast, you got a 25-pounder. And I'm using the same bait.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of, what little bit that I've heard and I've listened to people about snook fishing, it almost sounds like stripe fishing.
A lot. If they're ganged up, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way a guy explained it to me one time. He's like, I know you stripe fish. He's like, stripe fishing and snook fishing, he said, is very similar. He said,
Yep.
Yeah. Snook season's coming in. March 1st. Oh, we're excited about that.
We won't be worrying about the fish count as much because when we're snook fit, we're going to catch snook.
Yeah.
Like when we target them, we're going to catch them. It's like we're going to do a lot of dock fishing, and just like bass fishing. Only ours, when you catch one, or once you throw that bait in there 3 times, you might as well move to the next one. And just make a circuit out of it because they get spooked and it's crazy. Like they're not moving off, but you'll see them move back like 3 feet and then they won't come back after that bait. Yeah. You got to throw something different.
And we have such a small slot for them.
28 to 33. So
inches, and
that's a tough window, man.
Yeah. So we can keep.
And that's the window where they're the strongest too. They have reached maturity, but they're not getting fat. And we have noticed the big ones, the trophies, they're not as fast as those 25 to 35 inches. Those are the ones that'll rip you up real quick because they're so fast and they have enough weight that once they start pulling line, you're not stopping them. But those big ones, they seem to go a little slower. You know, they got a little beer gut on them now.
And my PB was a 38-inch, and his was a 44.
Yeah.
44.
42. Mine was 42.
42. Okay, 42.
I'd say that's a good fight.
A 3-inch swim bait, 3-inch rubber swim bait on jig head, and mine was a 5-inch Yoizuri jerk bait.
Yep. Yeah. So that next question.
Yep.
Both of us. Snook
all the way.
To eat, they are so good.
They're so good. Oh my God. They taste like steak. I'll be honest.
Very white. Best.
Yeah.
Good flaky but firm. And we've heard a couple other people say it really, it's like you're eating a piece of steak when you know, so it's just whatever flavoring you put on is the only thing that changes it. Yeah. You can eat it salt and pepper and butter. You can lemon pepper. You can load it down with seasoning.
Oh,
but how do you cook it? Do you fry it, fix it in the oven?
Here's the most important thing. You have to take the skin off. Yeah. If not, you'll hear them called soap fish because people used to catch them and they fried them on a half shell and they taste like soap. Something in their skin layer has that effect on them. But you take that off and they're awesome eating.
It's interesting. Have you ever, I think y'all froze up there for just a second. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Do y'all have a smoker?
We do have we didn't for a while, but we have a smoker again. And we'll smoke everything. We don't care.
Yeah.
That just makes it the best.
Yeah. Have you done any snook on the smoker?
Not yet. No.
We haven't got a snook, but we have done just about every other kind of fish. Yeah. We've done sail cats, saltwater catfish. We've done freshwater bass, fall fish. Almost everything but snook because we weren't fishing nearly as much for snook. We didn't know as much about the snook.
Well, let me just say why. So down here, sometimes we get this red tide, you know, about the algae bloom. We had one, a couple of years ago and then another one. So it causes a huge fish kill.
Yep.
And so many of the snook were killed because of
so
this
much
red
of the
tide.
bait gets killed.
And so they closed
the grass dies off.
They closed the season. You can catch them, but they weren't allowing you to take them. So we never got an opportunity to this last season.
The first 2 years we were here, we didn't get a chance to even keep one.
So hopefully this person said in here, the cold, they don't like this cold. So we're hoping we don't have a snook kill. We're hoping this season we can get a few snook to eat.
Cowboy Life, he said snook, salt, pepper, dash of cayenne, drizzle olive oil, and broil.
Broiling is good for just about any kind of fish.
Yeah.
I just like doing different things all the time. We rarely have the same meal 3 times in a year.
Yeah, Jay's a good cook. He can make any fish taste good, but the snook is, oh my gosh. Yep. I'll never.
I'm sorry. The reason why I was asking about the smoker is I smoked some striped bass.
Because you're not flashing, so you're not necessarily getting that crisp, hard sear, but you're getting that long-term little crust that happens, and it soaks into fish way easier than it does for red meat.
Oh yeah. Which one of y'all is more competitive on the boat? Thank y'all for the gift.
Her. I'm competitive, but with me and her, it don't matter. So I'm like, whatever. And she'll dig in. She's like, just the other day, we were doing the fish count, and we went out in the morning and bass fished, and she didn't get anything off the pond. And I got 6 off the pond. So when we got out on the ocean, she started banging them pretty good, and I'm getting all tore up we're catching Spanish mackerel, but they're like 4 in a row. They cut my line. So I'm there, and she's like, we need all the jigs tied up on every rod, so we're ready. We can just grab another rod. Well, that'd be great if you could help me tie, but she can't. So tie a baits. And she's out there whacking them.
I say, it's about numbers right now, baby. Let me go.
So towards the end of the day, I'm like, well, you might have evened it out. You might have evened it out pretty close. Oh, no, I caught more than you did. It's like, what?
I did.
My favorite thing to say to my wife, and I even say it if I'm fishing with someone and I'm catching and they're not, they say, what are you doing? And I say, well, I'm catching. What are you doing?
You're only fishing.
And I usually get a, crack and looking at me like, what? But that's my favorite thing to say, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he tied. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of use in my left fingers. They're all numb. They feel like pins and needles. So I can't quite take this little tiny line and tie it. So
a little tiny loop knot.
He has to do it for me, and then he's gotten me these clips so that if I need to change out anything, I can.
She can actually change those out.
Change it out. So that's been helpful.
Talking about the speed clips.
Yeah, that is very helpful for me.
Yeah. No, it is. I like using them too, especially like if you're wade fishing. Like I like using them whenever I'm wade fishing because I'm standing
hard
there
to handle everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I have to ask you this: what is the craziest wildlife encounter that you've had since you've been in Florida?
My God, we have a lot. We get to see a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, but if you think about the craziest thing. We were there, but it happened to our daughter. We were in Boca Grande at the big inlet, and there's a place there, one person where they own the land, they actually have the rights out into the water.
Fire ants for Lisa.
That was the ugliest thing that happened.
That's the worst.
Lisa with 100 ant bites. But we were out there snorkeling, and some manatees came in. It was about 8 or 9. Was it 7?
Yeah, 7 of them.
And they started circling us. Like they were just hanging out, and they're all kind of facing in, hanging out with us. And Lily's in the middle. We were kind of on the edge. And then this young one, a baby, came in. I don't know, probably wasn't a baby, but it was definitely the youngest one in the group. It was little.
For sure.
And it came up and it just nuzzled around Lily for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, they did.
And we just sat there. She was videoing with the GoPro and stuff back then.
Yeah, we were under the water just swimming with them, and this one just stayed with Lily the whole time.
Yeah.
That was the greatest experience. Oh my gosh, these animals, they're my
like when you first see them, you're nervous because there's this
huge
giant thing in the water and it's coming near you. And like we didn't know anything about them when we first got to Florida. We just knew they were sea cows. We didn't know really how they acted. Man, we learned a lot.
Yeah,
we had lots of interactions with manatees.
Yeah. Gosh, we had many interactions with dolphins. So many.
Yeah. Some like literally right on our boat.
Us.
Like they're nuzzling up against the boat. Some of them are 5-10 feet away, but
one time we were at the marina getting some shrimp, and feeding all the snook, the fat snook that are right there when you pull up. They're just sitting there eating good. There was a
seahorse while we're feeding all these snook, and they will not touch that seahorse.
Yeah, so it's hard. It's very rare to see a seahorse, but it's sitting there swimming along right there with all the snook that we're feeding, and we're like, wow, they're just completely ignoring it. I figured they'd eat that thing.
Yeah.
But no, there's something about a seahorse that the fish leave them alone.
That's wild. Yeah. I've never, and we didn't know, but we were just like, that is crazy. This little seahorse is there, and all these snook are just devouring the shrimp we're throwing in.
Oh yeah.
But those were two really cool experiences.
Yep, no, that is that. You know, we don't have any manatees or any dolphins or nothing cool like that.
Here, the nature here is so amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, I mean, the crazy. Now I fished Okeechobee, and I told this story last episode or episode before, but we were crappie fishing. I go to the back of the boat to relieve myself, and probably about 15, 20 yards. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. It was by far the biggest alligator I've ever seen in my life in person. I mean, it was every bit of close to 20 foot. I mean, just
that's a big one.
I mean, he just popped up out of nowhere, and I'm sitting there like, there ain't no way in hell that I would.
You ain't swimming here, huh?
No, I mean, as soon as I seen it, I was like, no, hell no. I ain't getting in this water.
We've encountered many alligators.
We've seen some big ones.
Yeah, we had one at a pond that just wouldn't leave us alone. It was a young one, and they're so much more.
They're very aggressive.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of sense, but he just followed us around that whole pond, and
especially if you're throwing top water. Yeah, that vibration across the top. They think it's something injured, and they're trying to get to it. And I've caught two of them before.
Thank you, Mr.
Hey, there you go.
Thank you for the gift, the hat.
Cute.
Swamp Stomper said water puppies need love too.
Well, yes, I love me some water puppies.
So what would be your best advice for someone coming to Florida and fishing for the first time?
Ooh, okay, wow. How about the fishing license first? Oh,
yeah.
Boy,
out-of-state fishing licenses changed a little bit.
They changed it.
How you get them.
Yeah. So they want people to go to the DMV, which nobody wants to go there. That is like the work. No.
There's only certain out-of-state licenses you can get online anymore.
Yep.
The rest of them you have to get through either the DMV or
Bass Pro.
Bass Pro sells, and probably Cabela's if there's a Cabela's around.
Yeah. So if you want a 3-day, if you just come into Florida and you want a 3-day, a 7-day, or whatever, you have to go to the DMV. We found when our brother-in-law and sister came down, they just went ahead and bought the yearly because I think it was like $49 for the whole year, and
they can do that.
They're coming back,
and that was just salt
it would have been worth it. It was just salt water, yeah. So first of all, get the license taken care of.
Get all your information before you get here, because you don't want to be last minute trying to get a license and now you got to run 20 miles or whatever.
If not, get a charter. Get a charter because you don't need all that, and they have all the equipment.
Yep, the license comes with the charter.
Yep. And just know your species. Like, you need to actually have a magazine. They give them out everywhere. The magazine on the regulations. Like, a lot of people come here and they're catching the mangrove snappers, and they have to be 10 inches. And these people are taking them, and you thinking that they're bait.
They're thinking they're like panfish.
Yeah. And you don't want to
get arrested for that, dude.
You don't want to go to jail or be fined like that. It's just simple education. Just educate yourself a little bit.
And there's so many transient people here, not just from other states, but other countries.
Yeah.
And they get here and start fishing, and and every country's different. Mm-hmm. Some countries you don't need a license; it's just fish for free.
Yeah.
But I'd say number one, knowing how to get your license and knowing the regulations of what you're doing, because the Fish and Wildlife Commission doesn't care that you don't understand.
Yeah.
And
another thing that's really awesome is, if you're not sure, go to a bait and tackle.
Yeah, they'll let you know what's going on.
Go to a bait and tackle and just ask them all the questions. Most of them are so willing to tell you what to do and how to do it, where to go.
And like she said, they put out a magazine, and they actually do it twice a year because of different regulations. And they have to keep up. If they get a fish kill here, they'll change regulation and they'll put out a new magazine. But those help a lot. They have almost all the species that you're going to catch inshore and offshore. And if you don't know what it is, don't touch it and put it back, because some things will hurt you.
Oh boy, we have a lot of fish and species, just animals down here that will hurt you.
Yeah,
there are toxins in them. The leather jacks. If you get
toadfish.
What is it, fin?
And so I got finned a couple years ago.
The toxins in
and
them.
I still, this past year, it started to stop having pain all the time. And now it's just sporadic here and there. I get it. But I had, for like almost 3 years, I would feel this finger would get numb and it would hurt. And it was just one little spine from a little wee leatherjack this big. Yeah. But they have a toxin in their spines. Some catfish have a neurotoxin in their slime. So even handling them if you have a cut or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. So there you go. There's your advice.
I appreciate it. Let's see here. I'm gonna do the no time to retie with Jay first.
No time to retie.
So all this is just I'm throwing out questions and just answer them as fast as you can.
All right. Okay.
What's your favorite lure brand?
J Bros.
There you go.
That's my newest favorite one.
There you go. Who complains first when it's slow?
Me.
Rod you trust with your life?
The Veritas that she got me.
Who loses pliers every 10 minutes?
We don't have pliers. we lanyard all of them.
I got you. Best one-liner when you outfish someone?
I'm your Huckleberry.
That's a good one. All right, you ready?
Yeah, but if those are the same questions, I'm not sure. No, go ahead.
No, I got different ones for you.
Okay.
Well, this first one's kind of the same. What's one lure you trust the most?
My top water.
Who pretends they are not competitive?
Definitely.
What's your favorite fishing saying?
Fishing saying. This is fishing, not always catching.
There you go. Biggest lie fishermen tell?
How big it was.
Worst thing you have dropped in the water?
Oh my gosh,
she's got a couple of these.
My cell phone. I went in too, so but
brand new phone.
But I held the rod up. I kept it.
She did save the rod.
I got you. What did you have insurance on your phone at least?
No. We had to buy a whole new one. Yeah.
Well, my wife dropped her cell phone, brand new one, 2 days out of the box on a kayak trip.
Dang, that sucks. Yeah.
She was sitting there. She's like, "Come over here and help me try and fish it out." I was like, "No, let's just head to the ramp and go to HM."
We took the net and it was still down there pinging on 360. But
yeah, no.
I said, "It ain't like you dropped a rod." I said, "If it was a rod, I said I'd sit over there with a couple weighted treble hook."
Yeah. Yep.
All day long. I said,
I knew better. The rod's staying out of the water.
Yeah. I said, no. I said the phone. I said, we ain't gonna be able to get. And I said, it's already ruined anyways.
Yeah, and the crazy part is the
it was on for like an hour and a half too.
Costs more than the rod. But
y'all got any questions for me?
Woo! First of all, we found out that you're from Harlan, Kentucky. So my family's all up in Kentucky. My dad retired out of Fort Knox, Kentucky. Jay retired out of Fort Knox, Kentucky. So, and we know a lot about Harlan. And Lily, our youngest daughter, was born in Richmond, Kentucky, where you're from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So we learned a lot about you.
we also keep learning a lot of how small a world it really is.
Yeah.
And
It really is. I mean, that's what's really neat about it. Like I tell everybody all the time, I don't know if you know Benster Fishing Lures. He's up in Michigan, but whenever he was still painting quite a bit at the time, and I went live with him one night, had some questions, you know, like anything new, you get frustrated. And I was like, man, can you help me with this? And we were just sitting there bull crapping. And he said, where are you from? And I said, Kentucky. I said, originally from Harlan, and his parents were originally from Pikeville.
Oh, gosh.
You know, I was like, hell no.
we can see our brothers.
All right. Now okay, here's my question for you. What bass fishing lake in Kentucky is your favorite?
Ooh.
My favorite bass fishing lake in Kentucky. Well, it might disappoint you.
Might not.
But I haven't fished a lot of lakes in Kentucky specifically for bass. I just got a boat. I think it was 2 years ago. Well, no, it was late 2023. That was whenever I started the TikTok. I crappie fish on lakes.
Oh, okay.
So I always chase the frying pan.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I'm not chasing the frying pan, or the crappies just got lockjaw, or I'm just wanting to try something new or test products out that I'm getting, I usually do it on Cave Run. That's usually my favorite place to test.
Where is that at? What town is that at?
It's in Moorhead.
Moorhead. Okay. All right.
But I fish Cave Run a lot, mainly for catfish and crappie. I do a lot of my night fishing. So 9 times out of 10, if I go live of the morning on TikTok after a night fishing trip, I'm usually hitting banks and up around the river that flows into Cave Run for bass. So I really, like I've got a couple buddies that's got boats, but they all crappie fish too.
Yeah.
But like me, I'm more of the bass fisherman back home. You see me live wade fishing, I'm smallmouth fishing.
Yeah.
100%. I love fishing for smallmouth and rivers.
Especially wading, man.
Yes.
If I can wade for smallies, that's why I said I'd love to take you to Pennsylvania. Look up the Juniata River in Huntington County.
Okay.
And then just follow it and look at how many streams come into that. They all have smallmouth, they all have trout, and then they're all out in the big water too. Yeah. And that same river is also fed from another area from our Lake Raystown. So there's a lot of fish in Huntington County, a lot of different kinds of fishing in Huntington County. Sorry, baby.
That's okay. It's all right.
She don't have her shoes on.
But that's one thing I am going to be doing a lot different this year though, because I pretty well have the freezer stocked with bluegill and crappie for and catfish. But that's what I was telling my wife. I said this year, I think I'm going to get out a little bit more, because I've got Cave Run figured out. I've got where the Cumberland River meets the Rockcastle River figured out on my crappie fishing. I really want to get down to Lake Cumberland and start bass fishing down there.
That's a good lake.
Yeah.
And, like you got Kentucky Lake, it's probably about 3 hours from the house. I'd like to get out there a time or two. But
yeah, because you can do Kentucky and Barkley the same trip.
Yeah.
Well, and that, I usually go down to Alabama, either of the spring or fall. This year, I think if I take a week off, I'm more than likely, I do have a crappie guide scheduled with Tim's Catching Crappie on Green River Lake. I've never fished Green River Lake.
Wow.
Green River's nice. I don't know what the crappie fishing is like up there, but man, I like the Green for bass fishing, especially the spring. It doesn't set up nearly as good for people that like that where it's flat sandy banks where you can see the beds easy. It's different. It's a lot of shale, a lot of rock, a lot of ledges, and your coves are more of the 45-degree coves. So it's harder to see them spawning, but it's once you figure out what they're doing, man. And I in the same day could be catching spawners in these little coves,
Mhm.
and then going out and catching multitudes of fish, throwing a bluff bank, like throwing a fluke on a bluff bank in the same day. It's
Yeah.
neat in the spring up there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to venture out this year. I mean, that's on my to-do list this year is hit, Cumberland a little bit more, Laurel, Wood Creek.
Laurel was a neat lake too.
Mm-hmm. Been a fishing lake, it seems like, but it's just, but that's what I told her. I said, I've got Cave Run figured out. I've got all these other lakes, here about an hour and a half away from the house. I need to get to them and figure them out. But Tim's a good dude. He's been set up close to me down at the Corbin show the last 2 years, and me and him got the bull crapping at the show. And I said, after everything settles down, I'll get up with you. And honestly, it's probably going to be cheaper for me to go fishing with him than putting the gas in the boat in the truck. Everything else that comes with a fishing trip, an hour and 45 minutes from the house. So.
Oh yeah, and definitely Cumberland River for the stripers, or the lake.
No, that's both.
Striper fishing, yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, I didn't tell my brother. I told him we was going to go crappie fishing, and this was all on ultralight because I didn't want to give it away. I'd been watching the pattern on them running in the channel, and it was probably in it's probably late August, because it kind of got chilly that night. And I said, get the biggest minnows, I said, out you can find. I said, and put on these. I said, and we're going to try and drop them about 25, 30 foot. I had us anchored out. I had us anchored out in about 60 foot of water right in the channel. And that first pole, it was just going, but I mean, I can't remember the big, which they got to be 22 inches to keep anyways.
Yeah.
And we limited out. We both got 2 over 22 inches that night, and probably caught 2 or 3 more. But man, you talk about a lot of fun.
You did have ultralights?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
4 and 6 pound test line with a long shank, 2-aught long shank hook.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, that'd have been fun.
I fought one for so long that I just sit down on the edge of the seat and just was holding the pole like this,
letting it run.
Just letting it run. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Man," it literally took 45 minutes probably to get that.
Holy cow!
Wow.
Yeah, stripers are strong, man. That's a strong fish.
Yeah, that's about like my tarpon. God, I was done after that one.
What was funny is he didn't realize what I'd done. He was like, I ain't ever done this before. He's like, come crappie fishing and catch nothing but stripe. The third one, I was like, you realize, I was like, if we crappie fishing, we should be fishing about 10 to 15 foot right now. I said, I'm trying to get way down there below him shad that's up. And I said, but they turned, and it was luck. A lot of it was, we just caught them on the right time running,
Yeah. There's times that the stripers will be eating the crappies that you're trying to catch.
Yep. And that's what's cool about the live scope. Do y'all have live scope on your boat, or you don't?
No.
See, I do, and it's fun, and then it gets old too at the same time. It helps you find them, and ain't gonna help you catch them. But there's times, man, night fishing, I've got that green light out, and I'll cut that scope on and just turn it back there to where all the shad are, and it's a pretty fun show watching the other fish.
Yeah, watching them feed live.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. I need to record some of that and post it. It's really neat though.
Yeah, that would be neat to watch.
I've never even seen one operating live. I had just 2 things. What's your favorite thing besides fishing, but any other part of the fishing world? What's your favorite thing? Like making a certain type of bait, or painting shows, or teaching?
The favorite thing for me, and I always tell people, I'll paint fishing lures as long as I can pick up an airbrush, I'll do it. I love it. But I think the other thing that fishing is doing this, getting on here, meeting people, learning, making the memes, the content, getting that engagement and interactions from folks. It ain't all about that. It's more about, the community.
Connections.
it's really blown my mind. I didn't expect to meet as many good people as I have throughout the last, 2.5, 3 years, however long it's been. But I can't remember who it was. Someone had posted something about, he was talking about, whether you realize it or not, people are watching you.
Yeah.
And I put a comment on there and I said, probably the most humbling thing I said that I've ever experienced is whenever you just have those days that you're busy with work, with regular life, family, and you forget the post or something. And you get up the next day and like 4 or 5 people was like, "Hey man, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's good." Why? And they're like, "You didn't post yesterday." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks for checking on me, but yes, yeah, I'm perfectly fine."
We are those people checking on people.
Yeah, yeah, and I've done the same, for other people too. But really and truly, it's just, I tell people all the time, I do this because I enjoy it, and but besides the fishing, going, I mean, it's all part of it, going to the shows, whether I'm there as a vendor or not. Like I was up at the Columbus, Ohio show yesterday, and I got to hang out with Larry, which Larry was at the East Tennessee show, but I wasn't a vendor, so I got to walk around, buy some baits from him, and I buy and resell his baits. Right. That's why I messed with him. I was like, "Man, I already got a ton of your stuff," and I messed with him. I said, "But I ain't got any of it that's infused with Silver Fox's scent."
Right? Yeah. There's always something new going on, man.
Yeah, but I got to meet pig jigs. They're from West Virginia.
I just found him not long ago, like maybe a week or two ago.
Really good people. Brazalo was there. He was at East Tennessee. Righteous was there, set up with him, Righteous Tackle. Chipper Bates. I got to meet Uncle Corey that does the podcast. He's also a lure painter. He was in here earlier. But it's just, the community is what makes it fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never guessed in a million years whenever I got on here that I would start a podcast or would, like Big Country. He's my brother, him and Alabama fishing. I've been to Alabama twice, fished with both of them. If I hadn't have got on here, I probably wouldn't ever went to Smith Lake or Gunnersville.
Right.
I'm sure I wouldn't be painting fishing lures. I wouldn't be, so, and like you brought up 3D, Jim and, 3D, Paul Tart, fingerprint.
Fingerprint.
And there was several of those guys that I seen doing that. And kind of the backstory, the barber shop I'm sitting in is where my bait and tackle shop started, and it's still, I don't have it set back up from the shows, but, I was buying and reselling soft plastics from people that I was promotional staff for.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Before I started the business. And, since then I've moved into the cane pole, local bait and tackle shop here. Alex would get outside Kentucky. He's down in Berea. He rents kayaks at Lake Reba and Owsley Fork. You got Brad with Backwaters Outfitters in Lexington getting ready to start doing some stuff with him. Bypass Bait and Tackles up in Flemingsburg, getting ready to start doing stuff with it. So, I mean, it's just little stuff.
Yeah.
I kept it here. I was like, if you don't want, I was like, no. I was like, if you don't want it in here, I'll take it out if you don't want it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we want it. We just know you can be busier selling more other places. And I was like, as long as this barber shop is open, I was like, I want it to stay in here. I said, because this is where it started. I said, because honestly, if it wasn't for this barber shop that I'm sitting in, I probably wouldn't, it was a stepping stone for other places, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And you never know where it's going. Like I had no idea, Lisa got with Dan, famous, and Eddie, and they got me a Father's Day gift to go fish with those guys at Bienville, private place where people, like actually Dan charters there too, guides there. Yeah. And we had met Dan several, a couple times, and just was a really good dude, and started meeting people through him, and got on this trip and got to meet 5 or 6 other people. And now, and then we got to meet like Jimmy and all these other people, and it's been wild. And like now kind of working with Larry to build a whole different lineup of baits, and I'm like, this is really cool,
It turned into something, such a big, beautiful family that's not blood.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's so much, and that's all I do. And I have nothing against any big box brand name, you know what I mean? Because it works. It works 110%. If it didn't work, they wouldn't be in business.
Right.
Their baits wouldn't be in every major store that you walk in.
Right.
But it's just, kind of what I'm doing is I personally deal with all small business bait makers.
And that's what we said. If we, like, people were trying to help us get monetized on TikTok and do some things on there, and we're like, we want to do it to make the money, but we're like, I am not going to sell everybody's stuff. I'm not, but I will promote the things that I'd like. And I can tell you, I have no stock in Zoom whatsoever. Yeah. But if I had an affiliate with them just for flukes, I would do that. Yeah. Because I'm gonna put them out there, and I have put them out there for 20 years now, and I catch fish on them. I know how to use them, and I don't just use them one way. I use them many different ways, and they work for me. And I wouldn't even care if I could only affiliate with just the pearl ones. I don't even want any other color. I don't need it. But
we're honest brokers, or however you say
it.
And
when fishing with J Bros baits and like Fox's different rigs and his scent, and sure, they're number one, you gave me a gift, and I'm going to take that gift and I'm going to do the most damage I can to fish on that thing. And I never really threw popping corks before, but this summer we lit them up on popping corks because we found the right scenario, the right baits to use on it, and we're just tearing them up. Everything from little trout to 75-pound tarpon. And I never in my life thought we'd have a 75-pound tarpon on a popping cork, but it happened 3 times.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We actually got one to the boat and got the leader, so hers counted.
About killed me. It about killed me, though. I would have died happy.
Well, I must say thank you to my partners that partnered up with the podcast. That is Aventacor, Cast and Pool, Charles Sassy Fishing, Backwater Outfitters, Bypass Bait and Tackle, Get Outside Kentucky, the Cane Pole, the Barbershop. That's what the name of the barbershop is, the Barbershop. Ohio Bait Company, and LT Jigs. I do appreciate all the partnerships with the podcast. They're all great companies to do business with. If y'all aren't following them, I can send you a list over. Look them up.
Please. It was awesome. Thank you for inviting us in.
Follow everybody.
Hey, I greatly appreciate your interest. Y'all was, like I said, it was like, I put that post out and it was like, boom, I didn't expect to get that much interest right off the bat. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. And whenever I seen y'all pop up, I was like, that's cool. Because I do.
Yeah, take care.
I do appreciate it.
This is good for everybody. This is camaraderie. Is that what you
call it?
Yeah.